which are known to have higher absorption rates. Now, InfoWarsLife.com is excited to announce that we can bring you our most bioactive, powerful form of B12 that has been developed with our exclusive perfected process. Secret 12 is a binary of nutramedical-grade, bioavailable coenzyme forms of B12, methylcobalamin, the same kind used in B12 injections, and adenosylcobalamin. Secret 12 is simply taken by mouth, right on the tongue, and then swallowed. No needles, no injections. Don't take my word for it. Try it for yourself. Discover the secret. Secret 12. Secure your revolutionary Secret 12 formula right now at InfoWarsLife.com or call 888-253-3139. And finally tonight, here at InfoWars Nightly News, we're going to break down one of the most important stories we've ever covered in my last 20 years on air. We're talking about the potential of thermonuclear war and World War III. Ladies and gentlemen, this is truly unprecedented. We have Vladimir Putin coming out on a state-run documentary over the weekend and saying that he was prepared to use nuclear weapons on NATO forces and readied the weapons, aimed the weapons during the last year's proxy war between the West and Russia on the Russian doorstep, historically part of Russia, eastern Ukraine, the Crimea. Then on Fox News last Friday, former top general Bob Scales came out. We're going to play a clip in just a moment, and said it's time to escalate things and start killing Russians, that it wasn't enough that brigades of NATO armor with U.S. troops involved are going to fight Russians in eastern Ukraine, where Putin now admits they have troops. He said we need to kill a lot of them to really teach Russia a lesson.
The only way the United States can have any effect in this region and turn the tide is to start killing Russians by killing so many Russians that even Putin's media can't hide the fact that Russians are returning to the motherland in body bags. But given the amount of support we've given the Ukrainians, given the ability of the Ukrainians themselves to counterattack against these, 12,000 Russians camped in their country, sadly, that's not likely to happen, Lou.
Well, Putin's gone public and said, we know you started the war. We have nuclear weapons. Yes, Russian troops are there. We're ready to fight. This is truly over the top. Look at these headlines. Putin's nuclear threat. Russian leader nearly started World War III over the Crimean War. Another headline. That's how the Daily Express. London Independent. Vladimir Putin says Russia was preparing to use nuclear weapons if necessary and blames U.S. for Ukraine crisis. Regardless of which side you're on of this situation, this should be giant international news right now. It's hardly in U.S. news. If some trendy person wears a different color sock or has a big beard, it's huge national news at South by Southwest here in Austin, Texas, where we broadcast from. Meanwhile, earth-shaking events are taking place. And the State Department admits they started a proxy war over a year ago, overthrew the elected Ukrainian government, put fascist right-wingers in, and started a war with Russian-held areas, just like Georgia in 2008. I'm not lionizing, as I've said 1,000 times, Putin or the corrupt Russian government. They're not offensively starting this, just like Hitler started World War II with the Russians. They didn't start it with Hitler. And of course, that was deeper into World War II. And it was Russians and Germans that killed 40 million if you combine both sides. So Americans and people of the world have not seen a major world war since 1945 ended. And we become very, very insulated to the danger we're in. But when it's top generals and Vladimir Putin talking about nuclear war, and the generals just laugh about it like it's no big deal, we're seeing incredible rhetoric out of current NATO generals saying, we can just sweep aside the Russians. Our troops are ready for war. They are so cavalier about this. The Russians are not cavalier about it. And they've been attacked by Hitler, Napoleon, you name it, and they didn't lose either time. Here's some of the headlines just today. Russia starts nationwide show of force. Russian bombers test RAF Cold War back. Russia's Putin reappears after 10 days absence, laughs off laughs off the gossip that he's supposedly dead. We have a normalcy bias where we just accept anything now. But we just played the clip of the general laughing about all this and just calmly talking about, let's kill a bunch of Russians as if they're not going to do anything. Maybe the Pentagon and these war hawks have been picking on third world countries so long, like Guatemala or Iraq, that they don't understand that Russia is a major world power with high-tech aircraft and high-tech nuclear weapons and cruise missiles and submarines off our coast. What on God's green earth is going on here? We need to call Congress. We need to call the media. We need to pray to God. We need to go to church and ask our preachers to talk about this. We need to get the atheists talking about it. I don't care who you are. We need to force a global debate about the comfort zone now that we've got to just talk about nuclear war and brigades of tanks and thousands of soldiers going in to now have an open war with Russian troops in eastern Ukraine. And it's all about stealing Russian gas and oil pipelines to cut off Europe. And we've got these reports coming out of the London Guardian that they're going to be shutting off Europe's energy, so get ready to be poor as a tool of social control. This is unbelievable. And the fact that it's not major news here in the United States really shows you how we've gotten to be in this narcissistic echo chamber believing our own bull. I believe the establishment are smoking their own dope. They're believing their own propaganda. This is extremely dangerous. I see members of the Republicans and Democrats calling for war with Russia. Meanwhile, we're told the biggest thing in the world is the Israeli election or Iran. The Iran nuke threat is nothing compared to poking the bear and starting a war with Russia. In fact, I believe I'm being too calm even now. We've had listeners ask, why aren't you covering more of this on the news? I only spent 15 minutes of the time on the Sunday show. I spent an hour today. Maybe I should spend all 3 hours tomorrow on this, because this is a big deal. People didn't think World War I could happen. It happened. Tens of millions died. People didn't think World War II could happen. 50 million died. 20 million Germans, 20 million Russians, another 10 million total. 50 million people. This time, it'll be a thermonuclear war. These despots that run our government and other governments always think they're invincible, like Napoleon or Hitler. And they always go to Russia to die, and they take millions of us with them. You can feel it in the air. You can feel the danger. The historians, the experts are saying this is unprecedented danger. This is crazy. The world is moving into a period of crisis, and the globalists think they can break Russia's will with economic warfare and lowering oil prices in an attempt to make them submit. But the Russian psychology is similar to American psychology. When an outside invader messes with them, they circle the wagons. It's not going to work. And the people at the Council on Foreign Relations and the globalists at the Pentagon, who are a bunch of chicken hawks, need to have some reality testing now and de-escalate this situation. That's it for this edition of InfoWars Nightly News. Pray for peace, pray for liberty. Lord willing, we'll see you back tomorrow night live with the 7 o'clock transmission and, of course, on the live radio show, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. If you're watching this transmission, you are the resistance, you are the hope. So take action and let your voice be heard before this new crop of criminals destroys the planet. We've had thousands of wars in our history. We've killed untold hundreds of millions of our own people. Now it's time to not do it again and destroy the planet. The choice is up to all of us. We better get busy.
The only way the United States can have any effect in this region and turn the tide is to start killing Russians by killing so many Russians that even Putin's media can't hide the fact that Russians are returning to the motherland in body bags. But given the amount of support we've given the Ukrainians, given the ability of the Ukrainians themselves to counterattack against these, 12,000 Russians camped in their country, sadly, that's not likely to happen, Lou.
From the water table to our soils to the atmosphere itself, our world is becoming more and more toxic each and every day. But it's not just the air outside that's toxic. Indoor air has been shown to have 2 to 5 times higher concentrations of pollutants than even outdoor air. And most Americans spend 90% of their time inside using toxic chemicals within their homes. There are more than 42 million smokers in the United States. Well over 1,000 types of mold and mildew linked to numerous conditions. And don't forget the fact that 6 million Americans live with pets they're allergic to as well. When I began to research these statistics, it was clear to me it was time to start cleansing my lungs in order to combat the toxic environment that we cannot escape but that we can fight back against. Made with organic and wild cultivated herbs and manufactured in the USA, the new INFOWARS Life Lung Cleanse is here in a convenient spray bottle that can be brought with you throughout any toxic environment. Now available exclusively at InfoWarsLife.com or by calling toll-free 888-253-3139.
You are watching the INFOWARS Nightly News, which airs 7 p.m. Central at InfoWarsNews.com. And your support is helping us defend liberty worldwide.